puppy. Hello, H. Davis. Yes, H. Davis. You are the guy that prays. You're the guy that says the prayers. And they are much appreciated. Okay? I love some prayer giving over here. I'm just saying. Hey, CM. For sure. Let me get this pulled up. This is a part 2 of commentating, giving commentary, talking a lot. This is Lippy. It's titled Married to the Case. Chapter 4, Part 1. The bed, the bones, and the bullshit. Now, the link to this is in the description. Go show Lippy some love. From a commentator. Yep, a commentator. That is me. I am just a commentator. Nothing fancy over here, for sure. For sure, for sure. So, we're going to start where we ended yesterday. This is the point where Fred is talking about the whiskey barrels that were being used to collect water. Okay. That was a, you know, that got Fred excited for some reason, right?
Wow. And that was the same person. So some of them was from, was Andy from when you had seen him that day? That same, during, holy shit. They
even showed me a picture of Candace walking by that camera that day too.
Right now, Candace is walking by on camera. Keep that in your pocket, because later somehow she's not.
Wow.
I backed it up a little bit, you guys.
Wow.
I don't know if I get rid of her site with it or not, you know, but
I won't put it out unless, I mean, it sucks because it actually.
I told Brian that.
Yeah.
I told Brian this earlier.
Yeah, but you didn't talk to him on the phone, did you?
No, I texted him.
I'm going to start out saying this. The number of scallywags, it was, that's the sad thing in Summer's case, because you have the scallywags. And it's not necessarily for some people about Summer anymore, right? I just always felt that Summer got lost more than once, right? She got lost in all of it. It very quickly moved on to other things. Dawn and Candace and the shit that they were doing, right? I mean, hey, if you could get Don Wells getting a DUI with you on the phone with him, that was a, you know, that was a plus there. It was sad. It really was. But it did, in a lot of different avenues, especially social media. I just think at some point, at some point, it's not really about summer anymore. If that makes sense.
Another thing that I just thought about, that one talking, she got us about a liquor barrel.
See, he says, okay, he says that he watched the psychic that talked about the whiskey barrel. Why are these people? This is strange to me. Is that not strange to anybody? Right? They were already watching some of these YouTube channels. And we're talking about there were a lot of people who started YouTube channels. Oh my gosh. Hey, Deb. All right. I'm not making any sense. I know. I'm not. I can't find the words today. There's just so many different levels in Summer's case. A lot of just different levels.
Okay, guys, listen up. Listen up, class.
Oh my
Hey,
God.
Remington. What'd you miss? He was talking about how law enforcement had him. We're playing a call with me and Fred today. This is from today, the conversation we had, and how he was talking about TBI, how TBI had shown Fred still shot.
Oh, okay. This is where she's excited that law enforcement played a conversation that her and Fred had today, where he's telling TBI something.
From a camera that was over there at Hill and Simpson, and he had to identify Andy Bernard, and he had to identify Candace, and all kinds of people on that camera. And so that's how he knows, law enforcement knows that Andy was on that road that day. And on one part of the camera of him going in, you couldn't see his face very well. But on the way out, he said that they got a really good shot of Andy on that road. This is what Fred is saying, okay? So, because we talked more about this even after this call. We talked 2 more times after.
These two, Fred and Ziggy, have pushed this narrative for quite a while, right? As the hauler turns. Okay, Poppy. Okay, so Ziggy's excited about it.
They only let you talk in 15 increments. I'm only showing you this 1 15-minute call, okay? And right here, what he's about to say, like, I never had a reaction like I've had, like a physical reaction. Like, my eyes started watering up. It was weird. It was really strange. And I'm like, what the heck? Why is my eyes watering up with what he tells me? Listen.
I just thought about that one talking, she got us about a liquor barrel.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah.
That talking was saying something about a liquor barrel.
Right,
Well,
whiskey barrel, yes.
Where Andy and them were staying on the hill across from Don Candace's,
Yeah.
they had wooden kegs, liquor barrel kegs, kitchen rainwater.
Oh my God, dude. You're blowing my mind right now. Oh my
That's what his grandma had out of the kitchen rainwater.
Oh
Was
my
yeah.
God.
Could it be a chance?
What do you say? I have to say something. I never watched Ziggy. I had watched her a little bit in the beginning. I mean, Constance, I'm glad you're in here. Have you guys done that live? When is that live, Constance? I did not get a notification. Are you and Sarah? You got it? Is it scheduled? Probably tomorrow. Well, I'll look for it tomorrow. Well, that's the thing. I mean, hey. You know, talk on the street, the word on the street is that people are, yes, I was going to say that, Constance. Benny, I watched Benny today. I even left a comment in there. I think I did. I agreed with what he was saying. I absolutely agreed with what he was saying. Yeah, for sure. I just don't understand how, I mean, there's a lot of freaking questions there, right? Because people, I mean, me personally, I really kind of don't care who she is. Don't watch her, period, whatever. Not a big deal, right? And I could be wrong, but I don't understand how an individual who says they, got connected with a, father. I guess Don Wells, accepted her friend request or whatever, right? Facebook shit, I think. I remember her saying that within a couple weeks. I can't figure out how some of these people it's a lot. It's a lot. For sure. I mean, I don't think Jesus would tell someone to send inappropriate pictures, to a married man, right? Married man who had kids. But that, hey, I don't know. I'll say allegedly. I will say allegedly because I don't need pictures. I don't need see none of that. Not at all. I do not know. These people, there are certain people that have made some pretty, pretty deep connections with other people. from that area. From that area. It was just kind of weird.
That summer may have fell in the ground if they want, and they got rid of it to cover it up.
Wow. This is so crazy. My eyes are watering. Like, something you're saying must be.
I know, my heart, I know. Like when you said something about the girl the other day, my heart was racing and stuff, and the eyes teared up, and it's racing now.
Oh, God.
Fred was having vibrations. Yes, Fred was having vibrations. This is crazy. Crazy, crazy. He's a vibrating. This, okay.
Remember Donna Serafina? Of course you do, because now Fred just happens to find those mystery wine barrels from her vision, sitting at Andy's.
Yes.
Convenient, huh?
The truck followed him back out. He's like, he went in because the truck went in, and must be looking pretty. And then he followed him back out. They more or less went in and got it.
Did they say that? But could they have done an exchange or anything back there real quick?
They could have. They very well could have.
Well, you were fucking staring at him, Fred, remember? You were staring at him. Hey, Mouse.
See, that's the thing. Why would Andy? It has to be. Like, if something happened the 14th, then why do you think something happened the 14th?
Well, I think, how to say it. This thing that Jody Sue and Andy had said and stuff on the 15th on the evening, it's all been recorded. But some stuff that they had said, stuff that might be, and the law even makes that too.
And through all of it, Fred was still claiming law enforcement agreed with him too. Somehow, every news story came with the same invisible cosign.
What?
Oh, hey, John, why is he in jail now for? Drugs. So this, yeah.
What? Why would he? Well, we know on the 14th, law enforcement was in the area because of Jackie Dogs. So yes, law enforcement was in that area, right? But now Fred's saying that. Oh, Lord.
This is a neighbor of Summerwell's, John. It's a long, long story how I got connection with this guy. I've been talking to him for 2 years. I sometimes get it mixed up at 2.5. It's actually 2. And anyways, he witnessed something the day that Summerwell's went missing that is odd. So let's continue.
Some of them have video and audio. Yep. So they, and Andy was even on camera on both fields right too. So
guys, I was trying to get all this info, and really, a lot of times I got for you guys, no, I don't know of anything like that. I don't know of any type of drug activity. I don't know any type of sex deviancy towards children or anything weird like that. Or so, I mean, you guys could have made up all kinds of stories and gave me all kinds of juicy things that were not true.
There it was, not excitement for facts, excitement for something juicy, and Fred just kept serving it up.
That's what he said. Fred was saying that's not possible as evidence because Andy was on the road.
He did, Lippy. He absolutely did.
Oh, TBI knows for a fact Andy was on that road that day. So Fred was just like acting like, well, that's not possible. Saying that Andy was on the road that day. You explain it, Cher. That it was a mix-up. You would absolutely know, Andy, if you were not there on the 15th on the road, but you saw Fred the day before, then when you're asked if Fred Hill had the days mixed up, you should say, oh yeah, absolutely, because I was not on the road on the 15th, so he had to have. I mean, what other option is there, Andy?
So TBI has never said to you that they might have you at 3:30 on some camera. I heard something like trail cameras. Have you heard of so that's not possible, you're saying?
That is no way possible that I was there on the 15th. On the 14th, yes.
Okay. At like 3:30 on the 14th?
Maybe at 3:30 on the 14th, maybe at 3:30 on the 16th, but
Yeah.
not. I'm saying hell no at 3:30 on the 15th. No,
Okay. Yeah.
there's no
And
way.
you have an
I was at
alibi,
work.
right?
I was at work. They had camera. They talked to my boss.
Okay.
TBI was at my work and talked to my boss. I seen the badge. I seen the uniform.
Saying anything bad about Fred, but the thing is, we
Okay,
didn't realize.
so, and yes, that did happen. That did happen. Okay. TBI did go to his job. Ryan, find Ryan's truth or whatever he is, also went or spoke with someone at that facility. And they said, yes, Andy was at work that day. Also, Andy called Pruitt. He was like, are you looking for me? Are you looking for me? Do you need me? All right. I kind of felt bad for Andy a little bit. Well, no, I really didn't feel bad for him, but, you know, I don't know. I don't know. Kind of weird. Okay. You know, I don't, well, okay. I'm not a psychiatrist, so I won't go there.
Is that pretty much if he's saying guaranteeing that Andy was on that road that day, then that does mean that Fred lied to me. That would automatically mean he lied to me and everybody, because he knew I was, and I don't take lightly to people lying at all. Like, even if it's Fred, seriously.
You guys, this is the thing. She doesn't obviously want to, I mean, she's standing by her man, right? She's standing by her man. Hello, Justin. Right? People put in her face where he's not speaking the truth. But she wants to stand by her man. For sure.
He would have been cut off like way before now if I saw he was playing games like Donna Candace and Jody Sue.
Ziggy says that if Andy truly had,
He took you and showed you animal bones that he kind of, you know, was like, oh, it could be da da da, right? No, Justin. Not today, bub. Not today, mister. For sure, right? I wonder. Okay, I'm not going to say it. I'm not. Okay.
an alibi, then it would mean Fred lied to her and everyone else.
Yes.
The statement reveals the real conflict. Accepting the alibi would also mean rethinking the source.
Had for sure evidence that Andy was not on that road that day before 6 p.m. And basically, and he messaged me while I was live, basically saying he needed to talk to me because he was about to like put out something, possibly in a few days. And I was like, well, I said, if this proof, I asked him, I was like, what is the proof? And then he's like, oh, I can't risk it getting out. I can't risk it getting out. I'm like, so you won't tell me what this is in advance? Like when I literally gave you pretty much everything, like a lot of what you have, and trusted you with like very private stuff that nobody else has seen, that I really trusted him.
After years of claims, Ryan Finds Truth spoke directly with Mr. Hayworth, who said Andy Bernard was at work all day on June 15th, 2021, and that he had also spoken with the TBI and provided camera footage from the day Summer Wells vanished.
Today, I went down to Hayworth Tire and Auto Service over in Kingsport, Tennessee, and spoke to Brian Hayworth, the owner. It was pretty busy there today.
He did. And I mean, it was, hey, flies. Oh, you know how Justin is, flies. You know how Justin is. Animal bones with teeth. She knew, yeah, she knew they were not human bones at all. Because let me tell you, if I thought that bones were that of a child, she said she didn't have service, right? Why didn't she call Johnny Law? That's true. That is true, but, you know, hey, Mr. A, hey, you know, some people, I guess, you know, wouldn't be able to tell, right? But that wouldn't have shocking money-making content, in my opinion. That's what it was all about. I mean, if you go back, Ziggy, she did talk to quite a few people. They all, I don't know how these people knew so many different people. I've said that about the church lady. The church lady. Right? All right. Kind of weird. Right? So yes, Find Ryan's Truth went to the Hayworth Tire and Auto in Kingsport and inquired on the status of Andy Bernard that day.
Which appears to be pretty much standard for how the workday goes there. So I waited there until closing to talk with Brian. I spoke with Brian for about 30 to 40 minutes and asked him if he recalled whether or not Andrew was at work on that day on June 15th, 2021. He said Andy arrived late that day, which was typical for him, and that Andy was there all day and finished up until closing time around 6 p.m. He said sometimes after work, Andrew would even sit in his car for a while using his phone, so it's possible he may have actually left later than 6 p.m. He confirmed that he remembered all of this because it's exactly what he told the police when they asked him in 2021. He also said that he provided the security camera footage to them as well. I asked Brian if Andy could have slipped away at any point during the day to go to Ben Hill and then return back at work later. He said he or his son would have noticed that, and If he had driven the 26 minutes or so home and back, he would have been gone for a minimum of an hour, and that certainly would have been noticed. I believe Ryan Hayworth is about as reliable a source as you could ask for on this matter, so I do believe that Andy has an alibi of being at work all day until at least after 6 p.m. on June 15th. The only way Andrew Bernard could have had any involvement in this disappearance is if he was able to pull something off after returning from work around 6:30 p.m. at the earliest. After speaking with Ryan, I realized there was still a loose end. There is still a statement made by Fred Hill that he saw Andrew on Van Hill Road that day around 3:15 p.m. I wanted to give Fred a chance to respond to this new information and possibly change the day that he could have seen Andy on that road. So I reached out to Ziggy to see if there's any way we could possibly speak to Fred again. Ziggy was able to get Fred to call me tonight, and I spoke to Fred on the phone. When I told Fred that I confirmed Andrew has an alibi, being at work all day until 6 p.m., Fred insisted that he had seen Andy on Van Hill Road that day. He also stated that law enforcement had shown him trail cam footage showing Andy on Ben Hill Road that day, as well as trail cam footage showing other people, including Candace. When I asked him why law enforcement would show him those photos, he said it was because they were asking him to confirm to them who the people in the photos were. So those are the current facts as I know them. Anyone can ask Ryan Hayworth to confirm.
Okay. I don't understand why they would have to ask Fred. Right? Local ring making up lies to make money, clicks and views to come up with this case, to make money in a region that have problems finding work. Yes, they wouldn't want this. They wouldn't want. Yeah, that a lot of people started YouTube channels, and you know, a lot of them had good little channels going on. Some of the earlier channels, some of them are not even out there anymore. So well, so okay. I mean, at the time Fred was using heavily, I don't think they'd rely on him for anything. Yes, that's what I understood also. My dad's on a cruise. Thank you. I just couldn't figure out how to, you know. For sure. You know, it was sad because a lot of them were we watched some of these people become we've seen some of these people and their addictions, okay? We've seen it. And it was sad. Thank you. Yeah, because I think that too, Flies. Yeah, you've always said that you, think Fred remembered the days wrong. I think he did too. Absolutely. Then he's being encouraged. For sure. That I think what kind of got me was the phone call from Pruitt about this vehicle that Fred allegedly seen. I mean, I guess he said he seen it. And that was how long after Summer went missing did that shit happen? Well, I feel horrible for anyone who's suffering from addiction. But that's just, yes, he did. Thank you. He said he saw the monkeys in the woods. Now, don't forget. Okay, wait. Oh, that's flies. Yeah, Fred said he seen the monkeys in the woods. For sure. Now, I can't remember. There was a oh, excuse me, guys. Meth monkey. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's seen the monkeys. No, what I was gonna say was that Justin, Justin, you're kind of distracting me. I feel bad. All right, come up here and say hi. Get up here. Hold on. I'm going to let Justin say hi, you guys. All right, come on, Justin. Grab the link. All right. Justin, I'm not waiting on you. Okay. So let me get back to what I was doing. You distracted me. Okay. All right. Me too, little Dev. Me too. For sure.
I didn't want to record the conversation because conversations go a lot better with people around here if you aren't shoving a camera in their face. I also asked him if any reporter or YouTuber had ever contacted him over the past 2.5 years to confirm Andy's alibi, and he said no. I won't speculate as to what all this means. However, after talking to Andy's boss and confirming with him that Andrew Bernard was in fact at work all day, I feel that I can now trust Andrew Bernard and his family as we work together to get access to the mountains behind the end of Fields Road. I also don't know why Fred Hill is still maintaining his statement, but I do believe that he at least...
And Ryan and Andy got together and they were maybe he did. It's okay. It's okay, Flies. Don't worry about it. I guess he did. What'd he get mad for? That's just Justin. I was going to let him come up and say, hey. I was. Okay. All right. Yes. Yes, you may, Flies. You may do that. It's okay. Okay, so now I remember Ziggy had hooked up Ryan and Fred. Fred was talking to Ryan about hooking up with this guy that Fred knew that could take him out to a cave, right? Something didn't add up, and Ryan decided that he was not going to have a kind of buddying around relationship with those Ziggy and Fred, right? Ryan was not comfortable, right? I mean, come on. Law enforcement, a law enforcement officer. Wow. We'll say a detective. For sure. I mean. Okay.
Believes what he saw, and he believes it was on June 15th. I don't believe Fred is intentionally lying, but I am trying to judge whether or not I can trust Andrew and his family, and I'm willing to take the word of Brian Hayworth at face value on that.
Now, to be fair, Ryan wasn't first. Sassy, aka Krama Mama, had already made a call and spoke with the Sun long before.
Confirm that Andy was at work on June 15th, 2021, if you can tell me that, and see if you remember what time he got there and what time he left that day. I know it's it's been a while, and I know you probably sick of it.
I think we went through. The best I can remember, I'm almost positive he was here that day. I do not remember what time he got here or what time he left, anything like that.
Okay. What time do your guys normally leave that? Like whenever they're done?
Yeah, generally it's about 36 o'clock.
As you can see from the clip played on Deets on the Streets from long ago, the answer was already there. But Ziggy didn't accept it then, and she wasn't accepting it now.
Well, one thing that always has stood out to me too is the Dawn Wells oh shit. What was I gonna say? The 5:30. The 5:30 statement that Dawn Wells made. Fred says he's seen Andy at Zoomies, remember, at 5:30? Didn't Fred say that? If I'm wrong, let me know, for real. And then yeah, just weird. Just, I don't know. For some reason, that always comes to my mind. Think it was Fred was sending Ryan on a wild goose chase. Probably, Karen. Seriously. So 5:30, 6 o'clock, Andy was at work. Right? All right.
I'm almost positive he was here that day. I do not remember what time he got here or what time he left, anything like that.
Okay. What time do your guys normally leave that, like, whenever they're done?
Yeah, generally it's about 36 o'clock.
As you can see from the clip played on Deets on the Streets from long ago, the answer was already there. But Ziggy didn't accept it then, and she wasn't accepting it now.
No. I was upset because he put out stuff that was not. I told him he was calling it real evidence that Andy was on the road that day. Was not on the road that day. He was trying to say he had absolute proof that Andy was not on that road that day. And I asked him to show me, because I was like, can you tell me what this evidence is? Because he was giving me some kinds of heads up that basically he was going to put that out, and he wanted to let me know that it's not going to make Fred look good. And I'm like, okay, well, what is it? What's this evidence? And he wanted to tell me. I'm like, are you serious? You're not going to tell me? Because we've been in contact. I mean, I was the one that was a guest on the show. I've been the one that's giving him all this information, putting him in contact with Fred, and just sending him I'm the one that sent him stuff about the irrevocable trust and stuff. And he told me, well, I'm not saying that Fred's lying or whatever, but he talked to Andy Bernard. He never got a chance to talk to really Fred until yesterday, except through text. But anyways, I told him, I said, he wouldn't tell me the proof that he supposedly had that Andy was definitely not on that property. He told me he was going to put it out in a video in a few days. And I'm like, so you're not going to tell me because you're afraid I'm going to put it out before you? Fred says Andy was on the road that day.
Wow, okay.
Andy says he was not on the road that day. Fred saw him. So did others. And see, the thing is, Andy's allowed to be on the road. He lived on the road. Okay, it wouldn't have been weird to law enforcement with Andy being on the freaking road, seeing Andy on surveillance. That would have been normal. So it probably wouldn't have initially set off alarm bells.
What the fuck's that say? Plus him showing up or being wherever we are is getting odd. Just chilling at our mailbox at times. He knows you leave for work, looking for dogs he doesn't own, and smirking. What? Oh, okay. This is... Wow.
But now we have Andy, who is denying he was on the road that day for some odd reason. The reason why he was the one to be the one that was on the road that day, on the day Summer went missing, or and saw Andy, is the reason why it was him, is because of a curse. He has it's actually through this good deed of helping find closure for Summer Wells. It will help break the curse. Is what I got in reading. It was really, really cool. So through helping.
Ziggy. Fred had said that plus a bazillion other Andy sightings. Look, obviously, law enforcement talked to Andy Bernard more than once. Not just one agency, but a couple of different agencies, right? So then we've got the phone call. Tell him you ain't looking at me. That is definitely out there, that conversation. It is out there, Andy. I think Andy's still got a channel. I don't even know. I didn't watch a lot of, didn't watch a lot of that stuff. For sure. Okay. Yeah, I don't know where I kind of feel bad for her sometimes. Seriously. For real. Yeah, what curse? No, I think what she did was, I think she probably listened to the Sloan Bella Sloan Bella did it's like a energy reading, I think, something like that. I don't know a lot about that stuff. Honestly, I don't. I know nothing about, I mean, we all know about a Ouija board, different things like that. Hey, I was going to tell you guys. So I think what we are going to do over here, so once a week, we are going to talk paranormal stuff. Yeah, I think it would be fun. I don't know. I may get scared. I may get scared. She always listened to Donna Serafina, and Donna Serafina took what Sloan Bella said and twisted it all around. I'm going to go back and watch the Sloan Bella, because I want to understand. I want to try to understand exactly what she's saying. I want to understand it. She talked about generational stuff. For sure. It's very interesting, you guys. If you get a chance, watch it. For sure. She just talks about like the energy, and it's pretty good. Pretty interesting. Yeah, before the boys were taken. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to watch that again. If anybody's interested, when I do it, you can pop over. Yeah, I mean,
find answers to Summer Wells is going to put it into, this is going to help put it into the curse, like by good deeds. You know what I mean?
Oh, Fred was on the road that day. He's not the one saying he wasn't on the road that day, RC. Andy's the one saying he wasn't on the road that day. And I know Andy was on the road that day, okay? Sorry.
The verification didn't end the narrative. The claim continued, and the tone only grew stronger. More recently, another YouTuber claimed to have seen footage as well, but no footage has ever been produced. Fred once said the proof was on SD cards, cards later said to have gone missing. But we'll get into the SD cards later. For now, the pattern remained the same. New claims, no evidence shown.
he says you could see him in the video or in what he's seen and has. The evil exists. What she saw was just she saw the Kia Soul on the road on the 15th, and it was past where Jody Sue and Andy's driveway is. 347, guys. 347 was the time that Andy was on the road that day. Saw Andy on the road that day in surveil in the
it wasn't fucking me, flies. She was not speaking to me. I don't think that was the RC she was shouting out. Right? That's funny, though. That is funny. I don't know. I don't ever remember hanging out. Hey, that is just the way I am. I try to be supportive of people, but I don't come out of the bushes very often. So I'm cool with people who hang out in their bush. You hang out in that bush, damn it. But at least sub up, okay? At least sub up. Just gotta start pimping myself out a little bit, I guess. She was trying to say RC was wrong. Could have been us all. She watches then cries. Hey, how do you think I felt? I didn't even think she knew who I was. Seriously. Did not think Ziggy even knew who I was. Okay. I had to cough. I had to cough. Yeah, I never understood why she didn't like me. I didn't bother her. Never bothered that lady at all. Okay, so it was said Andy was at work that day. Like I said, you can go. I believe it's on Andy's channel. I don't know what the name is of his channel, but he does have one where he has a conversation with Detective Pruitt. The only thing interesting about all of that was when Detective Pruitt used the word prior. When he used the word prior, right? You don't like anyone that questions her. Hey, I'm sorry, but I've seen her do weird shit on this internet. Okay? She should be nice to people. For real. Okay. So, because Fred said, and her love for him, and knowing that he would never, ever, ever lie to her, is adamant that what he says is the truth. Now, almost immediately, now listen to this. When when Ziggy was having that conversation with Fred, there at the beginning, right? He immediately starts talking about Jody and Andy. He did. Yeah. You know, Jody's mom's got a truck like that. Go back. Lippy has it in here. Lippy has it in here. Okay, I got to get on it because I promised I wouldn't talk so much. Okay.
From the footage of one of the neighbors, right? When Abel entered, you saw, well, you didn't see Andy, you saw his vehicle on the road that day. You couldn't tell who was driving it.
What? I believe, yes, I believe Andy was on the road that day. Talking about whether Andy was on the road that day for freaking years, because I'm not going to change my opinion until there's proof. Like, he's the perfect person to be in the position that he's in. Like, as far as being the one who saw Andy on the road that day, that's always that's just my opinion, you know.
Well, Fred Hill said that where he saw the HHR was at Simpson Loop, would be the right across the road from Ben Hill.
Right. But I mean, with all due respect, we can't take Fred Hill's with everything he says as gospel either.
That's right.
Right. Like Jose, though. You can't take what Jose says as gospel.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But you got to back it up with facts. You have to.
But how do you back it up with facts with Jose, though? You can't get, like, you have to be. I know it's difficult because I know you can. I get defensive of Fred sometimes too. I understand.
I'm just saying. I mean, you can ask Chris.
This was so sad. Okay. Hey, KB. Thanks for popping in. Have a great day. Makeup and everything. Some people absolutely felt that Jose was kind of exploited. Justin interviewed him. Chris McDonough interviewed him. And a lot of people accused him of doing things to Summer, that people accused him of a lot of things. They did. They said a lot of stuff about Jose. And the thing about Jose was he had, mental issues, right? Mental issues. So, rest in peace, Jose. It was sad. Okay.
Even got Jose's social security number, got his hospital records, pulled everything. That's exactly the reason I gave it to Chris, because he can do more things than I can.
Right. They know he was on the road that day.
How? Oh. How are you getting his social security number? Is that what he just said? Am I hearing that right? Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, you guys. I gotta listen to that. Is that what I just freaking heard? Come on now. Come on now. Okay, we'll normalize it here for a minute. Wow.
Tell there's proof. Say, like, he's the perfect person to be in the position that he's in. Like, as far as being the one who saw Andy on the road that day. That's always that's just my opinion, you know?
Well, Fred Hill said that where he saw the HHR was at Simpson Loop, would be the right across the road from Ben Hill.
Right, but we
Been the
can't
road
take, I mean, with all due respect, we can't take Fred Hill's with everything he says as gospel either.
That's right.
Right.
Well, just like Jose, though. You can't take what Jose says as gospel. How's it
Absolutely,
different?
absolutely not, absolutely not. But you got to back it up with facts. You have to
But how
back it
did
up
he
with
back it up with facts with Jose, though? You can't get, like, you have to be. I know
Chris-
it's difficult because I know you can. I get defensive of Fred sometimes too. I understand.
Well,
how
I
it
mean,
is.
no, I'm just saying. I mean, you can ask Chris. Chris even got Jose's social security number, got his hospital records, pulled everything. That's exactly the reason I gave it to.
How is Chris McDonough pulling Jose's medical records? Did anybody else catch that? Am I taking this wrong? How is that happening?
Chris, because he can do more things than I can.
Right.
Right.
They know he was on the road.
He can do more things than you can. Did Jose? I don't know. I don't know. It fucking doesn't sound right to me. Okay? But that's just remain calm. I'm kind of, you know. Ugh. All right. Let's get back to Ziggy swearing that Andy was on the road that day. I need the whole combo. I think Chris vetted him. Well, that was it. All right. But yes, that's what I'm saying. Jose would have had to have given Chris whatever Chris needed. Right? The situation was from the beginning, it was made out that Jose was going through some mental issues. That was put out there immediately. That was put out by Andrew. When Andrew would tell the story, they made Jose ride in the back of a U-Haul truck, I believe, all the way to Tennessee. And he did not want to go back to New York. He did not want to go back to New York. Well, Jose did say some weird stuff, okay? He talked about throwing his phone into the ocean. something like that, right? Because he was upset. Candace dropped the restraining order on Dawn. Right? Oh, sorry, I had to take a drink of water. Give me some water. Yes, I know that sounded horrible. You don't have to let me know about it, okay? For sure. Lippy, it just clicked in my head. The train. I get it. Train wreck. That is about the only way you can say it. Scary. It scares me. Jose, yeah, he was saying weird stuff. I mean, the dude talked about Don Wells owning a red truck. There was conversation about putting flags in the back when Don was carrying stuff. You know, safety first shit, right? Now they, let's see, October 2020 is when an incident happened between Don, Candace, Grandma, and Jose. Candace filed a restraining order. The 911 calls are out there. It's all out there. For sure. I think one thing I remember Candace saying that I was like, wow, it was a wow moment when she described to the dispatcher that Don was physically hitting himself. I'll say allegedly, I wasn't there. I didn't see it happen. She stated that he was hitting himself. Right? That was weird. Okay.
You know, Andy was on the road.
And supposedly Andy turned and met the blue truck back here.
So, okay, so I was wrong before then that Andy didn't go all the way at the end. Because come to find out, the last two cameras didn't get Andy on the road, right, Fred? The last two didn't at the very end. I'd like to know why Gavel believes Andy about...
How would he know that? And this always got me. Fred talked like he knew where every camera was in that holler. He acted like he knew he did. He did. Now, a lot of people have said it, and I'll say allegedly, I don't know, that, you know, what would be the reason that someone would want to know where all the cameras are? Mm. Yeah. I mean, allegedly sticky fingers, right? For sure.
Being on the road, does she have anything other than his word? Well, yeah. She's told, I mean, we're told that supposedly he was on camera on the day Summer went missing, that he was at work on camera. But the thing, so that's one of the things that they use as their defense. But the thing is, like, that doesn't mean he was on camera the whole day. You know, come on now.
The statement was straightforward. According to the owner of the shop, who said they had spoken directly with the TBI,
That's
Andy
right.
had been at work all day and on camera. Even that was challenged. But what motive would a neutral employer have to lie?
Exactly. Opinion, Jenny. Opinion. Your opinion.
I'm not sure there were many cams in the area when Summer went missing. I don't even know how I think it was somebody had some missing or something, right? There were SD cards missing. There was all kinds of shit going on, right? Thank you, Deb, for coming in, babe. I appreciate you. The corner neighbor told someone on a live they got theirs after. Oh, yeah, a lot of them did get theirs afterwards. They sure did. Hey, Twister. I thought, and I could be wrong, but if I remember right, Jody and Candace would document their abuse, basically, right? So there was something going on with that. I don't know. Jody wanted the SD cards, but I don't remember exactly what ended up happening over that. That's really all I remembered of it. Can we prove? No, Flies. That's a great question. Let me pin that. Can we prove the cameras were actually where Fred said? Nope. Nope. We can't. Can anybody prove anything that Fred has said? Jody said someone stole her SD cards. Yeah, I knew it had something to do with SD cards. I mean, Fred has said so much. I don't know. I mean, obviously Fred doesn't care that he's been called out for stuff that he has said that it's been proven is not true. Right? You know what though, KB? I'm sure there were a couple cameras out there that law enforcement didn't know was out there. I'm sure there was a couple cameras out there. That's just the way I see it. That's my opinion. For sure. I mean, look, this is how I see Fred. Fred acts like that the minute that he got back in the holler, right? The minute he got back in the holler, law enforcement became his best friend. Right? Fred puts himself in the holler within the time frame of Summer going missing. That's my opinion. He has told so many different stories. Cameras and people had multiple burner phones. I mean, okay.
And it's different than Fred's. The only thing Fred's saying for a fact is that your buddy Andy was on the road that afternoon. Do you have any explanation why he would be on there? And if you've done your homework, you would have talked to locals. I mean, you went there. Did you talk to anybody? Try to look at it. All Fred has stated is that Andy was on the road that day. That's his truth. It's not changing. It's not changing, guys. Fred saw Andy on the road that day, and that's that. At around 3:45, 3:47 is one of the timestamps he believes he saw on one of the
3:45, 3:47. That's the timestamps he believes he saw. Law enforcement asked everyone to search their own property. Yes, ma'am, they did. I doubt they searched Fred's for anything over than drugs. That's yes, I agree, Flies. I agree. A lot of them have done that. 22:03 p.m. I'm glad you popped in, Chris. For sure. Pat Wicks, I love you, girl. I love May too. I do. I do. I do. You know, every once in a while, there's a lot of people that, you know, I've hung out with and We've known each other for a long, long time. Some of us started out on YouTube together. I began my budding YouTube career. My YouTube career. Nope, I went on Nana's Angels. Rest in peace, Nana. Yep. Talking about summer. That was the first time I ever went on somebody's panel. I still have my t-shirt. I actually have a Nana's Angels t-shirt. They were doing a Q&A on summer, the case or whatever. And I won. I was the winner of a t-shirt. This is the thing. If law enforcement was looking into Andy, which they did question him, okay? They did question Andy. Why would they not have investigated Fred Hill when Fred was, around the same area where Summer, went missing from? Why wouldn't law enforcement question Fred? Instead, Fred kind of acted like they were all good buddies. And Fred was taking them around to places, right? I just remember that happening. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, my friends. Yeah, go figure. Well, that's because everybody asked him to do that all the time. Okay, hold on. I got to get me a bottle of water. I need water. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. So sorry. Right? Right. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. I don't know, Chris. I mean, new set of eyes. Could it help? Absolutely. I mean, for sure. Sad. I think Lawson's done the best that he could. I think the detectives working the case have. I think TBI is still on it. And I think FBI is even still involved in Summers' case because they absolutely showed up in full force on that Van Hill Road property that belonged to an individual that is related to Fred Hill. Right? Now, something that okay, wait, I just lost my train of thought. I don't know. I look at maps without. Yes, I mean, come on. These people were saying weird shit from the beginning, right? Jody talked about getting in the creek, right? Getting in the creek. So the something about the scent dogs, right? It didn't make any sense. I know somebody could probably word it better. She said she got in the creek to, wash off the scent or some shit. So the something to do with the search dogs. But then you have to remember also that Jody had dogs. So if she was hanging out with the dogs, right, she's going to have that on her. So I kind of wonder if that's not what she was saying, right? I don't know, though. I don't know. It was just weird, her saying it. Because she also said something like the scent dog stopped at her feet or some shit. I don't remember all of it. Not off the top of my head. So I don't know. Right? Yeah, TBI and FBI are absolutely involved in Summers' case. Absolutely. Now, I'm going to tell you this. We don't know what they took off that property. We don't. There has never been a list that has been put out on what was found on that property or removed from that property. Now, I know that, the guy's son that lived there his whole life doesn't have an accent. Okay. It's just weird. Just weird. just said. Very sad.
The pictures that he was given off of one of the trail cams to verify if that was who that was in the picture. He didn't have to just verify Andy. And it wasn't just Fred that had to do this. There were several people back there.
Ziggy said Fred's truth was not going to change. She had also said earlier that if she ever learned Fred had lied to her and everyone else, it would be a major issue. By that point, the positions were already set, and changing the story no longer seemed like an option.
He put a target on his back. I was the one that came to him. I had to find him to get that information. All that information. I remember I had the hardest time keeping up with Fred for the first year.
Because Ziggy could not keep up with Fred the first year, she went a step further and provided a cell phone to stay in contact, a phone she said she paid for, but, more accurately, one funded through subscriber support. By then, keeping the source connected had become part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my fault that Andy was on the road. Why, people are mad at me for putting that out there. Okay, you guys want information or not?
And then Andy went down to the end of the road to meet somebody. And then from Candace meeting up with Jody Sue at the end of the road, she goes down towards the end of the Ben Hill. Now we find out she was in a vehicle. There was no walking. She was driving. Fred cleared that up. He talked to the guy who saw her that day, and she was driving. She was not walking at the end of his drive. Well, he didn't witness her walking. He witnessed her driving past, asking if Fred and Laura were there. He said no, they were.
Now, see, this is what I thought was weird about that whole freaking situation, was the fact that Fred was talking for Chad, right? Fred was the one saying whatever he was saying Chad told him, right? And no, Chad hasn't done an interview as far as I know, and the guy doesn't have to. Now, one thing I did think was interesting in the Ryan interview with a local is that, if I remember correctly, she states that he had actually been talked to by law enforcement more than one time. More than one time. Many interviews. But then again, they talked to Andy Bernard more than one time too, didn't they? Talked to Andy more than once too. I just think a lot of stuff was, there were things happening that didn't have anything to do with what happened to Summer, possibly. But because of Summer going missing, things were starting to happen, with other stuff. Absolutely. I do hope that, there's justice for Summer. I really, really hope that. And I want to also believe that throughout trying to investigate what happened to Summer. And I don't care what anybody says. That's this Summer Wells case has been a lot for law enforcement. A whole lot. Hey, Mags. Who's Poopy? I can tell you what a guy named Poopy did. Okay, so there's a guy, they call him Poopy. And it was Shark Week, and Johnny Knoxville and the gang all got together, and they was going to go out and mess with some sharks. Okay? They was going to mess with some sharks. Now, I don't care. I am not jumping sharks for any amount of money. And I'm not doing it out of the kindness of my heart because it's a funny skit. He about got his hand bit off. He about got his hand bit off. He went up that ramp and right in the middle of them sharks. It was messed up. But his name is Poopy. Yeah. Grown-ass man named Poopy. For sure. Okay. All right. So, I cannot read this. Oh, this is Dawn. Awesome. Now Ziggy's hanging out with our local meth head with her little girl, and then brought him on our property while she knew we were at church last Saturday. This person says, nope, she was not. Impossible. So the reply is, this is the reply. He's up there saying she was on our property with Fred when they were gone. This person is like, no. So Don's reply is, okay, but she was here and uninvited to start trouble for us. Oh, maybe this is when Dawn and Don broke up. Ziggy started hanging with Fred. I knew something weird was going on when she made the comment about the trailer or whatever where she was meeting Fred to start with, right? When she realized that there was a nicer property down the road, that she was kind of excited about that. But what got me was because that is where she had been meeting up with Fred. We know what Fred got in trouble for. So, that's where she hooked up with him. Weird shit. Okay, let me turn this back on.
Pulling off vehicles. Andy keeps denying that he was on Ben Hill Road that day. They have him on camera. Law enforcement has him on camera and he knows it. Why is he denying it? That's what Fred said. He said Andy knows law enforcement has him on camera on that road. No, Andy, sorry. I was right the first time. It was Andy that they passed. They passed Andy in the road. Both of them saw Andy. Had to pull over to let him by. 2 witnesses saw him on the road. And hopefully we're going to be getting a hold of a third witness, Andy. And when we do, and she confirms that she saw your Kia Soul in front of her, that's going to be keeping evidence, at least here for the YouTube public.
So when that evidence comes out, it'll be evidence for the YouTube public. Interesting choice of audience.
That Andy was on the road on the 15th because I believe that Andy was on the road on the 15th. And Fred says Andy was on the road the 15th because he saw Andy on the road on the 15th. And that was just, it's the truth. And, you know, we're honest people like that.
It's like the best one they like to do is say, well, Fred was on the road too.
It's like, yeah, that's how he saw Andy Bernard on the road. Duh. Of course. You had to be there to see Andy. Duh.
So, had Ziggy even ever saw this evidence that Fred says he has? Is she really, oh, thanks, Mags. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, lady.
People are like brain scientists, I swear.
As time went on, it stopped looking like commentary and started looking like chaos. The facts got thinner, the accusations got louder, and the obsession with Andy never let up.
Oh, well, Jenny says no, he did not say that.
Sam, Andy lived on the road, so at the beginning, it wouldn't have been suspicious about him being on the road. You see what I mean? When they're saying Andy on the road, they're not going to think much of it because he lived back there. Start denying that he was on the road. You know what I mean? So hopefully this stuff has got back to him, which he called himself. And
they are saying he was not in that area with the time frame that we have that this child possibly went missing. That is what they're saying. Pruitt said prior. That could have been that morning leaving for work. Right? Hey, Stephanie. They said Andy come in late all the time. And we always have to go back to these people's state of mind. For real. Many people, really the only reason they came out and said anything, you know, as far as local and stuff like that, is they knew that they couldn't make money. And there's nothing, don't get me wrong, there ain't nothing wrong with that. I ain't saying there's anything wrong with that at all. So don't make me misspoke. I thought she was doing pretty good with her little tarot card stuff. I thought she was doing pretty good with that. Blythe bought me a reading from her one time. It was really weird. It was pretty good. Kind of scary. I think Ziggy could, I don't know. I mean, Ziggy's got supporters. She does. She's got a lot of supporters. Ain't nothing wrong with that. She can get angry, though. She can get very angry. I know.
So he made him aware of, and I've contacted him, obviously.
Ziggy is referring to Andy Bernard, saying he contacted investigators and was told he had not come across their desk, and not to believe anything Fred said.
We're just accepting concrete leads, and your name has not come up.
Okay. Well,
and I wouldn't put too much faith in what Fred Hill say.
well, I kind of knew that for the real.
Beginning, they wanted to really
That's
pressure
what
Andy
he
about why he
said.
was on his
That is what he said. Thank you, Lippy. Let me back that up a little bit, just a tad.
sleep.
Ziggy is referring to Andy Bernard, saying he contacted investigators and was told he had not come across their desk, and not to believe anything Fred said.
We're just accepting concrete leads, and your name has not come up.
Okay. Well,
and I wouldn't put too much faith in what Fred Hill say.
well, I kind of knew that for the real.
Beginning, they wanted to really pressure Andy about why he was on the road. They asked him while he was driving, and he tried to act like he didn't remember.
How does Ziggy know what they asked Andy Bernard, period? Right? I'm now listen to this verbiage. We're just accepting concrete leads and your name has not come up. Okay? That is what Pruitt is saying to Andy. He's like, we don't want no bullshit leads. We are only taking leads we can follow through with, i.e., Van Hill Road property search. Something led them to that property. They just didn't say, oh, hell, let's go check that property. Not at all.
Okay. Well,
and I wouldn't put too much faith in what Fred Hill say.
well, I kind of knew that for the real.
Beginning, they wanted to really pressure Andy about why he was on the road. They asked him while he was driving, and he tried to act like he didn't remember. He said Andy was on the road. What? Are you for Summer Wells or are you for Andy Bernard?
Wow, talk about manipulation. Reduce a complex case into a false choice. Either you were for missing 5-year-old Summer Wells, or you were for Andy Bernard. But asking for facts was never the same thing as being against Summer.
You know, so... And besides, on top of that, Andy didn't even ask the question that we fucking want to ask this whole time. He keeps going around the fucking question about whether or not he was on the road that day. That is my problem. Why won't you ask that? Andy being on the road from Fred, that was in January of 2022. No, I do believe Andy was at work at some point. I do. They know he was he was at work at some point. Yes, he was at work. He just had left at some point. Thing is, law enforcement knows Andy was on the road. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think they kind of calculated how long it would take Andy to come home from work or what the fuck ever. And, you know, I believe it was someone who worked at the tire place had said that if Andy would have drove home and went back, that would have been noticeable to them. That would have been noticeable to them because they only got like an hour lunch or something like that, right? Well, Chris, I mean, I try to I try to take that and just put it wherever. For sure. I mean, people are going to make their money however they seem fit to make their money. There's creators out there that have a lot of people that follow them. For sure. Okay, let me get back to this.
I just wanted to keep him talking so that we could later, you guys will find all kinds of things that will not match. I'm just saying, that was the point, to keep him talking. And, you know, I don't plan to keep throwing Andy under the bus, but he's not being honest and he knows it. He's saying, Andy kept being defensive against Fred. Like Fred is the one saying, so a lot of the Fred is only saying Andy was on the road. That's it.
Dude, like, I know, like, you know, she was really scared. Jody Sue was really scared. Like, huh? Oh yeah. They were trying to say.
I mean, they're gonna let my son kiss her ass goodbye. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, I would not be for it.
Yeah, I know.
What? Okay, wait. Let me slow this down a little bit, you guys. I want to hear what he just said. Okay.
Point. Saying is law enforcement knows Andy was on the road. That's all I'm saying. I just wanted to keep him talking so that we could later, you guys will find all kinds of things that will not match. I'm just saying, that was the point, just keep him talking. And, you know, I don't plan to keep throwing Andy under the bus, but he's not being honest and he knows it. He's saying, Andy kept being defensive against Fred. Like Fred is the one saying, so a lot of the Fred is only saying Andy was on the road. That's it.
Dude, like, yeah, I know, like, you know, she was really scared. Jody Sue was really scared. Like, huh? Oh yeah. They were trying to say.
I mean, they're gonna let my son kiss her ass goodbye.
They more or less. What? Okay, throwing Andy under the bus.
But he's not being honest and he knows it. He's saying Andy kept being defensive against Fred. Like Fred is the one saying, so a lot of the Fred is only saying Andy was on the road. That's it.
Dude, like, yeah, I know, like, you know, she was really scared. Jody Sue was really scared. Like, huh? Oh yeah. They were trying to say.
I mean, they're gonna let my son kiss her ass goodbye.
Wow.
I mean, that's the truth. I mean, I would not be for it.
Yeah, I know.
And that's not me making threats. That's the law enforcement's point of view.
Yeah.
2 years have passed since that clip. The certainty was loud. The outcome was silent. No arrest followed.
Answer to why he was on the freaking road.
Oh my God.
At around 3:45 p.m. Eastern time on June 15th, 2021.
Oh my God.
Why were you on the fucking road?
It's okay, Flies.
I'm so tired of it.
30
Ryan,
minutes,
are you going to tell us why Andy was on the road?
Yeah, they do, don't they, Poppy?
Are you going to tell us why Andy was on the road and why you have been promoting him as if he's a hero for the past year? Ryan, please tell us why Andy was on the road, because it's 4 years.
And this is the thing. I don't honestly see anybody looking at Andy Bernard as a hero. He's in the area. Ryan's hauling him around. They're showing different places. It's really interesting. But, you know, it was Andy Bernard. I don't think they're doing that anymore. Okay, you guys, give me 1 second. One moment, please. Okay, thank you for waiting. Appreciate it. All right, let me get my AirPods back in. Hold on, dang it. What are you doing, RC? Ugh. Okay, here we go.
Still ride around with him like he's your best bud. It's several people, and Andy Bernard is one of them. He was on the road. That's at least we know that. We know he was on the road. Why was he on the road?
If it feels repetitive, that's because it was. The same claim was pushed for years.
Well, and look, if Andy was on the road that day, and there's pictures of Andy being on the road that day, do you not think that law enforcement did not come to him and say, we've got pictures of you on the hill? Oh, hang on. Okay, sorry about that. Damn, I didn't know it was storming out. We're getting some rain here. We are. We are. I love a good storm sometimes. No, we don't have any facts at all. I mean, yeah, there are some things that okay.
And that repetition became the story.
Need the few people who have seen the surveillance of Ben Hill Road to come together, please. And he was on the road, and you know. Please.
We have got to do this for Summer, she claims. By then, Summer's name had become the reason given to keep pushing the same narrative.
We've got to do this for Summer. Time we weren't actually on the best of terms, but I told him, I was like, listen, I know you don't really care for me, but I swear on my life, Andy was on the road. Will you please? You know, because I was like, you need to, I don't want you to be on the wrong side of this when this comes out, because
Reporting Andy, knowing stuff on him, knowing that he was on the road, knowing it. And I know for a fact. And they're doing it because of their pride. They are so.
Like I said, law enforcement doesn't have to tell Ziggy and Fred what transpired that day with anybody. She blew my mind with the TBI call that Pruitt ended up calling her. The tip that she gave to TBI, they took an opportunity that they were given to talk about this alleged vehicle that Fred remembers seeing years later. Years later.
They just so bad do not want to admit that Ziggy was right.
Ziggy says everyone knows Andy was on the road and that she knows it is fact. She argues people only deny it because the claim came from Ziggy and Fred. But repetition and certainty are not the same thing as proof.
Andy was seen on Simpson Road at around 3:37 p.m. before Fred saw him around like 3:47 or something, I think, over on Ben Hill.
How is she getting those timestamps? Down to the minute. Down to the minute.
And Fred at 165. So was he over there spying on the wells on Simpson over at the overbays? Like that. And where's Andy Bernard fall in that? Because like, what was he doing on the road? You know, how would that all tie in? And then it makes us think, well, maybe Andy was on the road, like hiding his drugs or plants or whatever. It's like, well, how would he have known at 3:45 that Summer was missing at that point? Summer wasn't even called in missing until like what, 6:35 or something?
Let me tell you guys something, and I truly believe this. When it comes to a missing child, I do not believe that law enforcement gave a fuck about somebody growing some marijuana. Okay? For sure. Now, were individuals in that holler maybe moving around some things on their property or whatever? Absolutely. Absolutely. But that's not what law enforcement was in the area for. They were there to try to find a missing child. Hey, Sandy, good to see you. All right, you guys, I'm going to give you one more half hour, okay? And Lippy, thank you. That's what I love about Lippy too, because it makes my mind, you know, it helps me remember stuff. I always said Summer Wells is like a beautiful tree, but, you know, like any tree, you're going to have, you know, branches that, you know, are start being a little weak and, you know, leaves go bad and, you know, there's just so many sad possibilities in this little girl's case. Was it an accident? Was she abducted? Was she abducted, taken? The person freaked out, brought her back, you know, was like, here you go, out in the woods. And then someone else got her. Was she trafficked? Was she trafficked in the area? Was it just a crime of opportunity? Somebody just happened to be going down the road and here's Summer, right? It's sad, and after all this time, we don't know. But I hope there's a lot of other crimes that law enforcement maybe been keeping an eye on since Summer went missing. You got to remember, they basically, in an area like that, they do say protect the elderly and the children. Are there bad apples in those groups? Absolutely. Right? So it's kind of hard to say that when, maybe somebody who lives in the holler had been at one time charged for some heinous things that they had in their possession involving children. Right? Two different individuals that I really don't know of these people, but Shurfy Jr. Was being charged for different things to do with kids on devices, I think, right? And we had Frank Light, who has done time for images and different things involving children. I would have to pull up the exact charges, but they are out there somewhere, right? So for sure.
Andy Bernard is all over YouTube denying he was on the road. You guys have video footage of Andy Bernard on the road, and he's denying he was there. He even told Hawkins County on the day that Summer went missing that he couldn't remember what he was driving that day.
Just a reminder, Andy Bernard was on the road, and he says he was at work all day. Just checking in again. Andy Bernard was on the road. You have footage. People, Andy was on the road, but why aren't you? Okay, I don't know. I know, but at the same time, like, we hear that there was supposedly some kind of gag order. Is he afraid of to say the wrong thing? They saw Andy on the road that day. And they're not even mentioning it. They're like, oh, we're just gonna act like we didn't fucking hear it because this doesn't go along with our whole documentary we're pitching to Netflix. Andy on the road. Andy on the road.
Who's pitching a Netflix deal, damn it? Good luck to whoever does it. For real. I think everybody can bring something to the table. I really do. Yes, Marie. Andy said he wasn't there that day. Does she not realize I don't even know why I'm saying this. Does she not realize that throughout this time, anything that Fred said to me, well, he never talked to me, but, you know, before he went to jail and got cleaned up in jail, how can you believe anything that he said? Now, let's go back to the meth monkey, okay? Because there was a meth monkey. This guy that lived in the area actually had a couple of monkeys, right? Well, law enforcement came and the monkeys were like, fuck you, law enforcement. And one of the monkeys actually bit a cop, actually did bite a cop. But them monkeys weren't running around out in the woods. Okay? They wasn't. You have to, I mean, and yes, I will always say this, the way that he has treated and talked about his family and letting her disrespect them that way is very disheartening for me. Very disheartening for me. I'm just saying, that's just my opinion, and that is my opinion.
But they're keeping it quiet. They're not saying anything about it. They saw Andy Bernard on the road on June 15th. Were you told that? And are you purposely keeping that to, are you guys purposely keeping that to yourself? Are you purposely keeping that quiet? And Andy agreed with the guy that, yes, he saw him on the road that day. Andy didn't deny it. He just, right? So why is that a secret? Why don't you tell people about that? Also, one of the neighbors told him they saw Andy on the road that day. They were told Andy was on the road that day, but they're keeping it quiet. Us that Andy was on the road by saying that they've interviewed Andy several times about that. And that, yes, he was on the road.
After repeating the claim for years, the narrative shifted again. Now the argument was that law enforcement knew Andy was on the road. But the explanation was far less dramatic. Andy would have had to drive that.
Pruitt said Andy was there prior. Okay? Prior can mean if they truly believe Summer went missing anywhere from 3 hours on, right? Think she was abducted and she's still alive. You know what, Constance? I love that you think like that. And I truly hope that if that is the case, that she is with people who truly love her and have been taking care of her and have been letting her have a life, right? Well, and Don Wells, to me, was the type of guy that placed a lot of his being successful on, how do I want to put this? Don always felt that being rich made you like a certain way, right? To him, it just seemed to me that he had a thing about people with money saying that they could, you know, give the kids this or give the kids that, or that is, he spoke like that from the get-go. From the get-go.
road that morning simply to get to work.
Probably earlier, is what he said. After I had said Andy was on the road.
Because Andy Bernard was on that road that day, and nobody's questioning him. And he says he was at work all day.
Both CBI and FBI have questioned him several times concerning that. Yes, he was on the road probably prior to, but
He just admitted there in that call that we've questioned him several.
He was there prior to. You have 3 different law enforcement agencies talking to Andy. If they thought that even if Andy was on the road and they discussed it, not relevant right now, right? Law enforcement isn't going to tell her that. What does she want them to say? For real, Ziggy, what do you want them to say? I thought it was weird that they showed the pictures to Fred Hill to start with. Right? Dawn on a villa property, Utah. Yeah, they did the marker for summer. It was beautiful, Deb. It was. Remember his sister Mary? His sister Mary went out there and couldn't find it. Said they couldn't find it.
Times about that, about him being on the road. So basically it's like all he can tell me here at the time of this, I was like kind of like freaked out, but I understand that he is in a position where he has to watch what he's saying. I'm sure he's knows that I'm probably recording it. But yeah.
Ziggy, they all know that you're recording it. Absolutely. You let it be known from the very beginning to law enforcement that you were Ziggy and you had a YouTube channel, right? I mean, I think they know who you are, but not in a good way. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
Even if he told me if he told me not to put it out or whatever, I wouldn't have. And I didn't for a few months because I was like, I don't even know how to take this or whatever. But kind of think he just hung up because he really didn't want to say the wrong thing. Because I do believe that there's a gag order. I really do believe that. So
that call began with Detective Pruitt asking about a reported blue truck. But the focus was pulled back to Andy Bernard. A single line.
A gag order. I don't think law enforcement even needs a gag order not to talk to YouTubers. They don't want to talk to YouTubers.
That Andy was on the road prior to was later treated as confirmation. But the ordinary explanation never changed. Andy had to travel that road to get to work that morning. Let's hear the full call.
What from your TV idea?
Yeah, which email did you get? I sent a couple within the last week.
The one about the dark blue pickup truck in the windows.
Okay, yeah. Okay, okay, what do you want to know? I'm so sorry, I'm freaking been dealing with this. I'm extremely nervous. I've been getting harassed and I've been yeah, I don't know if do you know who I am by chance?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Oh my God. So she starts off saying, I've been getting harassed and do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Y'all know who I am. I know you know who I am. For sure.
So, anyways, Fred's here. He's in the room just in case you need to ask any questions. But the reason
Fred's here. He's in the room. He's in fucking bed. Hey, this is real talk. I thought it was in very poor taste when she put out her and Fred hanging out together in the bed. Okay? And there, to me, was no thought about Laura. No thought about how Laura would feel at all. Yes, yes. Oh, I don't care what she does, KB. I don't care what she does. For sure. I mean, I care, but nobody cares what I think. Okay. I don't know what you're talking about. I do not. Good luck to him. That's all I can say. Good luck to him.
why I sent that in is because, because Andy Bernard was on that road that day and nobody's questioning him. And he says he was at work all day.
TBI, FBI, Hawkins County, they all talk to Andy. They all talk to Andy. And this is just the way that I think is if Andy popped in, maybe to, sell some Mary J or whatever, I do not see Andy Bernard lying to law enforcement about that. Like I said, it's about a missing child. That's just how I think, though. Right? Well, Don just seems to think that anybody who makes more money than him, that to give a child, it just sounded like he was saying to give a child a really good life, you have to have money. You have to have money. So, well, you're going to keep getting new people. Let me say this. You guys are going to see a big splurge in newer people speaking on the Summer Wells case. There's probably going to be a lot more AI generated stuff and things like that. For sure.
Several times since I that. Yes, he was on the road probably prior to, but no support.
Probably prior to. Now, If you notice the call from Pruitt with Andy, he's like, your name hasn't come across our desk. That's what he said, right? For sure. KB, everybody needs money. Okay? Yeah. The kids did have bikes, and absolutely. The outfits to go along with them.
It is this dark blue picture with tinted windows that you felt was very important as kids.
Yeah.
Why do you feel it's important?
Because, well, we feel like Andy was meeting him. Because another person, now I promise to respect anything you do not want out on YouTube. I promise, because this is really important.
If you're talking with someone, a detective, you might not want to mention your YouTube channel and stating that if he didn't want it out, you wouldn't put it out. Because you know what you just told him? You just told him you're recording him.
But
that is what she just told him. I won't put it out if you don't want me to. That's what it told me. I'm like, oh, thanks for that little tidbit of info. I mean, they already knew that shit. Who gets excited? Excuse me, but who gets excited when law enforcement is listening to a call that you were having with your incarcerated boyfriend, okay, for basically substances and other things? Who gets excited about that? Right? Dawn mentioned Summer being on social media. Candace had been putting out a lot of pictures and videos and different things like that of her and the kids.
We feel there's another YouTuber who saw footage of Andy on the road, on Simpson Road at 3:37 p.m. Fred remembers seeing a still shot, you guys showing him a still shot of Andy on the road with that blue truck, following, like they were in the same still shot at 3:47 p.m. leaving out. Fred saw him on the road, like he had to move his trailer in order to let Andy by that day at around 3:47 p.m. And no, it was two.
The truck, it just two people, but the windows were so dark, I couldn't tell who was in it.
Yeah, the windows dark, tenants are dark.
Why? I'll say this forever. Why the fuck didn't Fred get up and have a conversation with Pruitt? Instead, he's laying in bed. Ziggy's on the phone, pacing back and forth. She pacing all around that room, right? Ooh, I had to cough. Sorry, I had to cough. For sure. And like I said, they said Andy was there prior. His job said he was there. Could he have ran back to the holler? He could have, but I think like his the person from the tire place said that if Andy would have made that trip, they would have noticed it because of having an hour lunch, right? Well, could be. Could be.
Well, like I said, very seen TBI and FBI have interviewed Mr. Bernard.
Well, he went on YouTube and put your guys' call out on YouTube, just so you know.
I'm not arguing with you. I mean, further, we appreciate your information. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
What the fuck? What just happened?
I have a question. You're talking about the little girl who went missing. You and Fred say that there was a vehicle that Fred seen. Instead of taking the opportunity to talk about the vehicle, you chose to take that opportunity to push your narrative. I don't understand why she did that. An hour both ways. I don't know how long his lunch was. He only had an hour for lunch. I believe the guy said it was an hour for lunch. If I remember correctly.
Okay. And knows to be fact, like Andy being on the road, and they claim not to have any, they act like they have no weed. So I just basically was like, do TBI even know this information about?
My biggest concern
so I sent it in, and we got a call back.
If Hawkins County
right around the time.
To TBI,
Yeah, we didn't think it was getting to TBI, and it was like a few days later, I got a call from Pruitt about my tip to TBI, and that was around the beginning of this year. We didn't hear why Andy was on the road at around 3:45-ish p.m. on June 15th, 2021.
Even after Detective Pruitt called specifically for information about the blue truck, the focus was still pushed back to Andy being on the road. Despite Pruitt stating that the TBI and FBI had already spoken with Andy, the takeaway was later reframed as confirmation that Andy was on the road when Fred said he was.
See Andy on the road, and yes, they might have him on the road, but he's allowed to be on the road, you know what I mean? So, that's not a crime.
So, do you guys think, this is just us thunking over here, okay, that Ziggy wants, especially law enforcement, to tell her that her husband, I think they're married, I don't know, her hubby is not lying to her. You're talking about a guy that takes her to see animal bones, with the backdrop being, oh, they're small, they could be a child's. Right? Fred and Laura was on the road that day. Yeah, they said they was. Well, all right. All right, we're almost done.
Just like with Don and Candace, it's not a crime that their child went missing, not in of itself. So, and we have all these other little hunches and things, but you know, you have to have like solid like proof. Believing that Andy was on the road and knowing Andy was on the road, and and no, he couldn't. She goes, oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. I kind of wish I didn't see all this, but she says things like Fred got the 14th and 15th mixed up. But besides that, he is being honest about a lot of things and stuff. First of all, Andy was on the road and we're horrible, just, you know, like we're putting out some lie intentionally when she knows that's not true. She knows that we're being honest. She knows that deep down. Maybe she doesn't want to actually believe it, but she doesn't want to actually believe it because it's not because of Andy. It's because of somebody else that could be involved. I guarantee she knows that Andy was on the road too. And because Andy Bernard got involved in some fuck shit and it fucked up all their lives and his own kids.
You know Andy was on the road. I just don't believe that you don't know that.
When it comes out the truth that Andy was on the road this whole time, would you apologize? I bet not. Andy was on the road. It's different. So it'd be different if like he wasn't.
Andy was on the road, fine. But you don't have to sit there and talk shit about us saying that he was. When I
gotta hear her yelling one more time.
Believe it, but she doesn't want to actually believe it because it's not because of Andy. It's because of somebody else that could be involved. I guarantee she knows that Andy was on the road too, and because Andy Bernard got involved in some fuck shit and it fucked up all their lives. And his
that is putting, you know. Hey, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
own kids.
you know Andy was on the road. I just don't believe that you don't know that.
When it comes out the truth that Andy was on the road this whole time, would you apologize? I bet not. Andy was on the road. It's different. So it'd be different if like he wasn't.
Andy was on the road, fine.
Law enforcement, I'm just saying, okay, I've never had any type of speaking relationship with Andy Bernard. He doesn't come over here. I'm fine with that. Don't have a problem with it. But I am not saying Andy Bernard was on the road that day. I'm saying, obviously, TBI, FBI, law enforcement were okay with whatever information that they received from Mr. Andy Bernard when they questioned him more than once. Okay? So you can either look at these people who are getting interviewed more than one time as either whatever information they are given, giving to law enforcement may be a little helpful, not per se in Summer's case, but maybe in different areas. Does that make sense? For sure. You could actually search the Predator apps, I call them. You can see how many RSOs lived in that area. For sure. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Okay, sorry. I know everybody's like, you said you wasn't going over 2 hours. I'm almost at 3 hours, you guys. Do it every time. I do it to myself every time. No, I figure if I feel good, then I'm okay to hang out. For sure. TBI, FBI have looked at this case also. TBI has said they just need one piece of evidence. To me, that says they know what happened. They just need to find. Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. Well, the thing about Candace being into yard sales, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with being into yard sales? She had 4 kids. She had 4 kids. Ain't nothing wrong with a good yard sale.
But you don't have to sit there and talk shit about us saying that he was. When I know for a fact. So why don't you go stay over there in your lane and we'll stay over here in mine?
Anyone who dared.
Does she know for a fact, though? Does she honestly know for a fact? I don't know.
Point out inconsistencies in Fred and Ziggy's claims often became the next target. Instead of addressing the contradictions, accusations were made, reputations were attacked, and criticism was treated like wrongdoing.
If you don't want me fucking talking to you or talking about you and your little shady shit in trip to Tennessee that you guys want to say I made up that you guys were up on the, well, why did you guys disappear when I brought all that shit up? Like it was the weirdest, shadiest trip ever. And you guys kept it quiet. You didn't even, were so sus. And you act like I have no reason to believe that I have no reason to think like I'm thinking when the time. Matches when you guys want to be so vague about what happened on that trip and who chased you out of this holler and all this stuff that fucking you claim happened. Andy was on the road. They didn't have to believe me, but me and Jenny, I thought were cool. But you know, she's so freaking. She will not listen to anybody. She gets something in her head, and she is freaking. I mean, that's it. That's it. There's no. She would never admit wrong.
That's right, girl. You hold true to what you believe in. She knows what she wants to be true and put out. Oh, well, that's a big statement. For real.
She'll never apologize, ever.
With Ziggy disagreeing didn't mean you had a different opinion. It meant you were suddenly in on some fuck shit.
I've been saying Andy was on the road for years. Hunting humans. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to think?
Hunting
he was
humans.
on the road unless it fucking happened. To know what the fuck you are.
Wow.
I do know you have no integrity. You don't stand for anything. Besides, Andy was on the road just because you want to go against me because you don't like me for some reason. Because you guys are such know-it-alls, want to be right about fucking everything. That's how you guys are. You're narcissists. You, Chasing and Jenny, are both narcissists. Never can be wrong. Will never apologize. Ever.
Insisting that Andy's a key player in the Summer Wells case. He's insisting that Andy was on the road that day. That's it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's information down in Knoxville that I turned in, but
yeah, that's true.
Somebody.
But as far as
information, I get so frustrated. Can't believe without solid proof. Yes. Andy was on the road prior. That's what I said, because prior could mean that morning, right? Prior could have been, I mean, his employer doesn't seem to think that Andy traveled out of the area for lunch, right? A lot of locals, it seems to me, have definitely, especially in the beginning, specifically watch certain channels to see what's being said. How some of these YouTubers could even get access to some of the people that they did is like beyond my comprehension. Right?
What you know for a fact is Andy was on the road.
Okay, wait. I got to hear this again.
Both narcissists. Never can be wrong, will never apologize, ever.
Insisting that Andy is a key player in the Summer Wells case. He's insisting that Andy was on the road that day. That's it.
I mean, there's information now Knoxville that turned in, but
He says, I mean, that's the information. I don't know. I turned into Knoxville.
Yeah, that's true.
somebody.
But as far as what you know for a fact is Andy was on the road,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean? Besides his involvement beyond that, or what he was on the road for, we don't know for a fact.
No, I mean,
Him denying
whether it's true or not, he was,
him denying being on the road is what makes him sus. And there is, other things himself that he's put out there makes him sus. So it's like the day of, though, on June 15th, when they asked Andy if he was on the road, that's why don't you go ask Andy about that? Stop the BS. That'd be that's something that is straight up BS. The cops were laughing big time. Yeah. I mean, we can't help it that Fred can't help it that he happened to see Andy on the road today and shit happened the way it did. Like nobody knew. He didn't know how big this whole thing was.
I didn't know that Thompson was the first one that turned their footage in. Thompson and then me. And then I don't know who else turned the footage in, but I know that just about everybody on Ben Hill almost had cameras of some sort.
So wait. First it was still shots from law enforcement.
Yep.
Now it's several cameras and Fred's got footage too.
Yep.
Funny how the story kept upgrading, but the proof never dropped.
Same day. I was at somewhere at 5:30 myself.
Andy was on camera at 5:30 at Zoomers on the day Summer went missing.
So that puts Fred at Zoomers at 5:30. Yeah, I don't keep up with Fred and his fucking nonsense shit. For real. Fred has changed his story so many times. And look, I get it. There are, women out here that we want Summer found, right? And you're kind of empathetic to Fred. He's a guy that was doing evil things in the world, and he found true love with his little tarot card reading girl. And you know what I'm saying? He found true love. He got off the substances. He's just hanging out and being supportive of his woman, right? This is totally my opinion, but I truly think that sometimes Fred, excuse me, Fred does shit and says shit because what do him and Ziggy really have in common? What do they really have in common? Look at the situation that I mean, what did they have in common that they so quickly found each other? I mean, personally, Fred Hill, being the person he was, what he was charged for, there would have never have been any intimate shit period going on. Okay? Bottom line. Figure yourself has said all her and Fred talk about is summer 24/7. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And a lot of times, and we're just talking, you know, a lot of this is my opinion or whatever, but a lot of times Fred will say something, Ziggy will repeat it, and then Fred would be like, no, you know, that's not what I said or something. Has anybody else ever noticed that? For real. For real, for real.
As well as in the holler.
And he was in the holler.
On that camera, on Fields Road camera too.
And yep, and he was on camera on Fields Road. So he's so full of shit.
How does Fred know this shit? How does Fred know what was on those cameras? Why would, I mean, that shit's always bothered me. If he's telling the truth, he knew where every camera was. He knew what was going to, you know, he's just fucking weird.
Now, Fred says he saw Andy at Zoomers. And yep, somehow that's on camera too.
A lot. They both went, but Andy's the only one that was in the car, supposedly on camera.
Best of our ability. Obviously, if I had the surveillance of Andy Bernard on the road, I'd be showing it. That's a whole different thing.
Still, I see those pictures.
Right,
On the road on the 15th. If that's the
You're
truth,
just going by what you have. I understand people's point of views and stuff like that. You know, you can't go by what somebody says. Like, you know what I mean? You have to see proof. I get it. You know, I understand. It's that's the same predicament I'm in. I want to see. I believe Fred, of course. I really do. I mean, just because it's all everything, but I'm the one that's been talking to him.
But there's no proof. Fred, what has Andy really done to you? What did him and Jody do to you, Fred? Because you don't like them. You haven't since the beginning. The first thing you did was talked about Jody and Andy. Right? There's never, I don't believe there's any SD cards. But I don't know. I don't live there. I don't have cameras up there. Right? Yes, he does, Southern Girl.
I know that nobody doesn't have, I have that different perspective, you know, and I just have to keep in mind, like, not you guys, people are just going by what we've been told. And I know it's hard to, I wish we could know or see these pictures or the surveillance. I really do.
I mean, here's kind of the way I look at it. Now, I may be totally wrong because I know investigations, you know, take a long time and they got to.
Heart, Scott H. Sending out a heart.
Piece things together. I know all that. But Fred or Andy, neither one's behind bars for anything to do with the 15th.
Yeah.
You know, Fred went to jail, but Fred went to jail for something completely unrelated to something.
Yeah.
Ain't got nothing to do with him being involved. If it did, he'd still be in there as far as I'm concerned. They would have never let him out and give him the opportunity to go to rehab and so on and so forth. You know what I mean?
I agree.
But
it's all mind F for sure. It really does. It's really freaking a mind F. Like I'm constantly like, I don't understand.
Let me say this. Fred Hill was given a lie detector test. It had to do with, I'm just going to say Cotton Simpson, okay? I think we all kind of know who, personally, I never knew Cotton Simpson. Anything that I've ever heard about Cotton Simpson has not came from Cotton Simpson. Okay, it's a lot of what Fred has said about the man, little stories that we heard. I'm going to tell you guys one of the stories, and I know you guys remember this. So everybody let me know if you remember the story of the woman that escaped from 110 Ben Hill Road. She had no clothes on. She was running through the holler, and by the grace of God, Cotton Simpson takes her and allows her to wear some of his girlfriend's clothes. Cotton gave her some clothes. This is the story, okay? And that Cotton was worried that his girlfriend would think that, he was hooking up with the girl, right? But this girl allegedly was, procured by Candace and taken up to 110, where she was put in a position where she could not move. And yes, she was very scared. She was scared. Now, let me know that you guys heard that story too. Let me know for real. Get in here out of the freaking bushes and let me know if you've heard the story. Then you can go back in the dang bushes, okay? You can go right back over there.
Andy comes off like a decent person, you know what I mean? But like, it's just it's hard for me to believe him because of
I think they would all fib a little bit to save their own hind end. I'll tell you that right now, and that includes everybody.
She went looking for answers and found a source. What followed was years of claims, contradictions, and chaos dressed up as truth. Next, we get into claim number 3. The proof was supposedly in those precious promised SD cards. I hope to see you next time for Chapter 4, Part 2. The bed, the bones, and the bullshit.
Oh, Lippy. Lippy. I love it. I do. Let me put the link in chat again. It is in the description, you guys. Go check it out. I'm getting into the series. I am. For real. All right, hang on. I'm sitting here in the freaking dark. I am sitting in the dark. I love that. Constance, I am really excited about you and Sarah and what you guys are going to talk about. So I better get my notifications or I'm going to be mad. Yeah, just a YouTuber. You're right. You are right, Flies. Just a freaking YouTuber. It is just a lot. Well, that's why. I mean, it's just the case has been polluted from the beginning. From the beginning. But you had to just look past the freaking nonsense. I mean, it's alleged. I don't know who sent Donwell's pictures or didn't send Donwell's pictures. But even the thought that someone would do that, is kind of odd to me, right? Kind of very, very odd to me, for sure. All right, I am going to change my banner. I don't know. I ain't never been to, oh yeah, I've been to Five Guys one time. I have been to Five Guys one time. And yes, they say it is better. That's what they say. But hey, if you like me, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like me, I don't give a fuck. Right? You ain't got to tell me. All right? I don't allow that stuff in my brain space. Hey, Linda. I'm going to take this time of not being monetized and get my shit together. Gonna get my shit together. Yes. And I'm feeling pretty good, damn it. I am. It's like I just kind of taken like a, hey, let's chill out for a little while. Let's not make everything so freaking serious. Well, things are serious, but for sure. I agree. I need to go in and, spice my titles up and get me some good thumbnails going on and at least take it serious enough, I mean, you might as well figure you're kind of working for them. They get their part of whatever you make, right? So, but if you want to consider donating to the channel, there is the Cash App and the Venmo on the banner. You can check it if you like. But please sub up, you guys. Sub up. We are going to try to accumulate some subs. Hey, I appreciate everybody who's hung out with me since the beginning. So many of you guys have been here with me since the beginning. And that is the coolest thing ever for me. They took my monetization, Sandy. Now, I could fight it. I've been thinking about fighting it. I have. But that's, yeah, they're taking it for the same reason. And I'm a commentary channel. I'm a freaking commentary channel. So that's what I thought about using, you know, using as my defense. I'm a commentary channel. Plus, I don't think they liked it when I got sick and I wasn't on here every freaking day. I mean, for sure. Thank you, Poppy. Thank you. Also, let you guys know, I am going to be working alongside my daughter, and we are going to try to come up with some really cool merch. Really cool merch. So I got a couple ideas in my brain, and I think they'll be really cute. Yeah. Yeah, it is the bots. Yeah. For sure. For sure, for sure. Well, I was getting a little bit feisty. I was a cussing, and no, you should not get charged for any memberships. Nobody should get charged for memberships. At all. And they don't even, okay, so the way YouTube's set up, you have to make over $100 a month. If you make under $100 a month, they will not pay you. They will go at the next month, and they'll add to that, right? So then you might get a check that month. Well, on mine, they kept that. They didn't have to give it to me. Now it's sitting there, and when I can remonetize, I'm sure that I will receive that. But as of right now, they are saying that because my channel is not monetized right now, that is just going to sit there, I guess. I don't know. We shall be okay. We shall overcome one day. You're not being charged, Sandy. Isn't that embarrassing, Poppy? That's freaking embarrassing. They take your monetization, then they send emails to people. I'm good with that. I'm good with it. Oh. Well, that's where I'm lucky that I still have my channel. They didn't take my channel. So I am blessed that they didn't. For sure. But no, I believe my daughter may come on and talk about the Ouija board experience. Okay. So I thought we might do that on the weekend. I do have a live for tomorrow set up to talk about the singer David case. Celeste Hernandez, a little, I believe he started seeing this girl, they believe around 11 years old. So that case is, it's a pretty wild case. It's a pretty wild case. But we are going to do like paranormal once a week. Have some fun with it. Talk to scary people about scary things, right? For sure. Well, I'll give it my best shot. That's all I can do. I can't guarantee you it's going to be a perfect ride. Never is. But we shall overcome, I'm telling you. All right, Constance, don't freaking forget. Don't forget. Tag me. I want to watch. I do. I think it'd be so interesting. Yeah, that was a big question I had about the church lady. How did her and other YouTubers become so intertwined with people in that area? Right? Who started passing out names and phone numbers? Right? These people have, it's just, I don't know. I don't know, y'all. But I am going to get off here. I've been on here 3 hours and 19 minutes. And I know I keep saying I'm not going to do long lives. But I really enjoyed watching Lippy. You guys go watch the series she's got out. For sure. What a good job. Seriously. And no, Lippy, I ain't saying that to suck up to you. I'm not. For real. I really do like to, if I see something that I like to let people know that I thought it was good or whatever. That's just how I am. Every once in a while, if I'm sitting here, I'll pop into somebody's chat and say, hey, just to be saying, hey. There ain't nothing wrong with saying, hey. For real. But hopefully we do find out something. And law enforcement is the only person that can release the information on what led them to Van Hill Road, what exactly they were looking for. And I just am grateful that they showed that Summer Wells' case is still a high priority for them. See, and it was weird because it was like, you know, individuals, EquiSearch, searchers that were given their time, their effort. The elements were freaking horrible for them. And they tried to make it, and I'll say, you know, Dawn and a lot of different people tried to make it out like Dave Radar and Twyla had underlying reasons for coming there to find Summer, right? I guess an example is, look what happened to the Cajun Navy that was there to help look for Sebastian. Look what happened to them, right? Why were people, I don't know, y'all. I guess I never know what I'm talking about. Thank you, Poppy. Oh, thanks, Linda. I appreciate that. Yes, other people do say cursey words. Well, I'm not going to quit saying fuck, Poppy. I can tell you that right now. Nobody has to worry about that. That word is in my vocabulary. For sure. For sure, for sure. Nope, y'all know how I am. I get a little feisty. What some of these evil people in the world do. It's freaking scary. Very freaking scary. But we gonna keep on hanging out anyway. So we gonna hang out. We are. We're just gonna try to add a little, just a little bit of spice. For sure. But no, I do appreciate Lippy's channel. Lippy, that was so good. I'm going to go start watching the series, you guys. I am. And hopefully, you guys, I think Constance and Sarah, I don't know when they're going to do it. They're going to be talking about a little bit of something that I'm going to be interested in. For sure. All right, 4 minutes and counting. Thank you, Poppy. Thank you, Flies. Thank you, Mr. A, for popping in. Thank you, H. Davis, for singing Remain Calm some songs. I appreciate that, H. Davis. You have a good night, too. Justin's just being Justin. I'm sure he'll be popping back in. He'll be all right. Bless your little pea-picking heart. Bless your little heart, Justin. You're fine, H. You are fine. I love all kinds of music. I do. Love it, love it. All right, 3.5 hours. I adore you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Lippy, thank you so much. Enjoyed that so much. Be you, do you. If you got to get a little feisty, you go right ahead and do it. The case, you guys, that I have scheduled for tomorrow night around 7-ish, it is, we'll get into it. We will get into it for sure. Celeste Hernandez case. You can put in Singer, David, capital D, number 4, capital V, and then capital D. That's how he spells it. Such a sad case, too.